In 1913, one of the brightest minds in psychology broke away from his teacher. That man was Carl Jung. His teacher was Sigmund Freud, the giant of his age. The split shocked the world of science. But what Jung discovered next would change how we see ourselves forever. Jung believed that inside every person live 4 hidden figures. They guide what we show, they shape what we hide, they touch how we love, and they point to who we might finally become. Think about it. Every smile you wear, every fear you push down, every dream that feels strange, they are not random. They belong to a map Jung sketched more than a century ago. But here's the hard question. If these archetypes are guiding us from the shadows, are we really choosing who we are? Or are we just masks pretending to be people? A mask on a stage, a dark shadow at your feet, a mysterious feminine figure in a dream, a glowing circle at the center. Each image points to one of Jung's 4 great archetypes, and in the next few minutes, we'll uncover each one and why knowing them could change the way you see yourself forever. This is the story of the 4 personality archetypes Carl Jung discovered. In 1913, Carl Jung walked away from Sigmund Freud. For years, Freud had been his teacher and ally. Freud's ideas about sex, repression, and the unconscious ruled psychology. But Jung wanted more. He believed the human mind was bigger than Freud's theories. Dreams, myths, and symbols. Freud called them side notes. Jung saw them as keys to the hidden self. The break was painful. It ended their friendship and left Jung isolated in the field he once shared with Freud. For months, Jung kept journals of his own dreams and visions. He drew strange images, spoke to inner figures, and searched for meaning. To many, it looked like madness. To Jung, it was discovery. Out of this crisis, he began shaping a new psychology, not one focused only on childhood and desire, but one that asked, why do myths repeat across cultures? Why do the same symbols appear in dreams of people who never met? Jung believed the human mind carried a deeper pattern, a shared map of hidden forces. He called these forces archetypes, universal figures living inside every person. From this point on, Jung's life became the search to name them, and the first figure he uncovered was something we all use every single day. What is the first face we wear before the world? The first figure Jung named was the persona. The word comes from Latin. It means mask. To Jung, every person wears one. The persona is the face we show to the outside world. It helps us fit into society, play roles, and meet expectations. Think about it. The way you act at work is not the same as how you act with your family. With friends, you may seem free. With a boss, you may seem formal. These roles are your masks. They are useful. Without them, daily life would be chaos. But Jung warned of a danger. If you mistake the mask for your true self, you lose touch with who you really are. The persona is not fake. It is only partial. It hides parts of us in order to survive in society. For some, the mask becomes so strong that the real self is buried underneath. Smiles hide anger. Polite words cover fear. The world sees only the mask, but behind it, something else waits. If the persona is what we show, then another figure must be what we hide. And Jung gave that hidden figure a chilling name. The second figure Jung named was the shadow. This is the part of us we try not to see. It holds our envy, anger, fear, and shame. These are the feelings we push down because they don't fit our mask. The shadow is the side we deny. But Jung said it was more than darkness. It also hides energy, creativity, and desire. The things we are too afraid to admit can also be the source of our strength. Think of a person who hides their anger. That anger, if faced, can turn into courage, or someone who hides fear. Facing it can bring wisdom. The shadow is dangerous when ignored. It grows stronger the more we pretend it isn't there. We may project it onto others, blaming them for what we won't face in ourselves. But Jung believed the only way to grow is to meet the shadow directly, not to destroy it, but to learn from it. The shadow is a teacher we fear but also need. It shows us the parts of ourselves waiting to be accepted. Still, Jung said there was more. Beyond the shadow, another hidden figure waits inside us, and this one speaks with a very different voice. The third figure Jung named was the Anima and the Animus. He called them the inner other. In men, the anima is the hidden feminine side. In women, the animus is the hidden masculine side. Jung said they live in the unconscious. They show up in dreams, fantasies, and the faces we project onto others. A man may dream of a mysterious woman who speaks for his soul. A woman may feel the pull of a strong inner man who shapes her thoughts. To Jung, these figures are bridges. They connect our everyday mind to the deeper layers of the psyche. But there is danger. When denied, they distort how we see others. A man who rejects his anima may fear emotion and cling to control. A woman who denies her animus may silence her own strength or project it onto men around her. But when embraced, these figures can guide us. They open us to the unconscious, making us more balanced and whole. The anima and animus show us the voices we carry inside, waiting to be heard. By now, Jung's map included the persona, the shadow, and the inner other. But he asked one more question. If these are only pieces, what unites the whole? The fourth and final figure Jung named was the self. To him, this was the ultimate archetype. The self was not just another mask or hidden voice. It was the circle that held all the others together. Jung saw it in dreams and myths as radiant circles, glowing stones, or sacred mandalas. Every culture, he noticed, told stories of wholeness shaped like a circle. The self was larger than the ego, the smaller we normally think we are. It was the center of the full personality, both conscious and unconscious. To Jung, the self acted as a guide. It pulled us toward individuation, the lifelong process of becoming whole. The self wanted balance. It asked us to face the shadow, to hear the anima or animus, and to wear the persona without mistaking it for the real core. When these parts were brought together, life moved closer to harmony. When they were split apart, life fell into confusion and conflict. The self was the pattern that gave shape to it all. Persona, shadow, anima/animus, and self, 4 figures, 1 system. Together, they formed Jung's map of the human psyche. But how did he weave these into a single way of understanding personality? Not everyone accepted Jung's 4 archetypes. Many scholars argued they lacked hard science. They said Jung's ideas came more from myths and stories than from data. To strict scientists, that made them unreliable. But the pushback did not stop the spread. In later years, his 4 archetypes were stretched into 12 brand archetypes. Marketers used them to sell products. Ads told us some brands were heroes, others rebels, others lovers. The depth of Jung's work was reduced to slogans and campaigns. To critics, this was proof that archetypes had turned into tools for manipulation. The system was easy to bend but hard to measure. And yet, the story does not end there. Even with criticism, therapists still use Jung's map to help people face their shadows. Artists draw on it to shape characters that feel universal. Writers and filmmakers use it to craft stories that echo across cultures. People around the world still find themselves in the persona, the shadow, the anima or animus, and the self. The critics say it is unscientific. The marketers twist it into business. But the archetypes refuse to disappear. Why do they still hold such power over us today? Jung believed his 4 archetypes were not just private psychology. They were universal. You can see them across history, myths, and culture. In ancient Greece, theater masks showed fixed roles: heroes, villains, tricksters. The persona, the shadow, the anima, and the self all appeared on stage. Centuries later, the same patterns echoed in world myths. The shadow as demons, the self as radiant circles or wise guides, the anima and animus as mysterious partners in dreams and stories. Even today, the same figures shape the movies we watch. Take Star Wars. Luke Skywalker shows the persona, the mask of the young hero. Darth Vader carries the shadow, the dark side we fear and deny. Princess Leia mirrors the anima, a figure of connection and courage, and Yoda reflects the self, a wise center guiding the path to wholeness. Audiences across the world recognize these figures without needing to be taught. That is why the stories feel so familiar. Jung's map explains why myths from Egypt, India, Europe, and Hollywood carry the same pulse. The archetypes live across cultures because they live inside us. The shadow is not just in villains, it is in our own anger. The self is not just a wise guide, it is the pattern that holds us together. But what does this mean for your own life, outside the stage and the screen? For Jung, the 4 archetypes were not just theory. They were steps in a larger path he called individuation. Individuation is the lifelong work of becoming whole. It means uniting the persona, the shadow, the anima or animus, and the self. The persona helps us live in society, but it is not the full story. The shadow forces us to face what we deny. The anima or animus connects us to the deeper voice inside, and the self pulls everything toward balance. Jung believed this process is never easy. It takes honesty, courage, and reflection. Most people resist it because it means facing parts of ourselves we fear. But he also warned that the clock is always ticking. Life does not wait forever. To reach wholeness is to race against time itself. Some never begin the journey, others start too late. But for Jung, even one step toward individuation brings meaning. It makes life feel guided instead of random. It gives shape to dreams, struggles, and choices. The archetypes are not just old psychology, they are a living map for how to grow. And that brings us to the hardest question of all. Which path are you taking? The mask, the shadow, or the journey toward the self? Jung's 4 archetypes were never just theory. They are the hidden players inside every choice, every conflict, and every dream. The twist is clear. The real you is not the mask you wear. It is the self, always working to bring the broken pieces together. To ignore the archetypes is to stay divided. To face them is to grow whole. The chilling truth is this: your shadow always follows. Your anima or animus always whispers. And the self never stops calling. More than a century later, these 4 figures still shape us. So the question remains: are you living as your mask or walking the path toward yourself? Carl Jung began as Freud's student but became his own pioneer. In Breaking Away, he gave the world a map of the mind that still guides us today. The persona, the shadow, the anima or animus, and the self. 4 archetypes that explain why we act, dream, and struggle the way we do. They remind us that life is not random. It has patterns waiting to be seen. If you want more deep dives into the hidden stories of psychology, history, and culture, make sure to subscribe. And now the question: which archetype do you feel most alive in your life? The mask, the shadow, the inner other, or the self?